The Knicks need Cat to be perfect. They need Brunson to be healthy. And in that scenario, they also need the Celtics to have an off shooting night.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams. And on today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, I'm uber excited. We prepare you for the NBA Conference semifinals. Segment 1, we'll talk about the Eastern Conference. Segment 2, we'll talk about the Western Conference. And segment 3, we will give you a brief capsule preview of the WNBA season as we're speeding fast to the opening night of the WNBA. Let's jump in it. Eastern Conference semifinals, let's talk about it like it's 1984. The Knicks are taking on the Celtics. So the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks are set to face each other in the second round of the playoffs. The news media wants you to get very excited about the Knicks and their opportunities to beat them. And if you've listened to this show, we will tell you that we appreciate the Knicks' effort. We applaud Tom Thibodeau and the team and the grit and the grind of Jalen Brunson. But Mike King, do they have a chance to beat the Boston Celtics in 7? What say you?
1%. I won't say 0 because you never know, but no, they don't have a chance. And I don't even say this as a hater. I don't even hate the Knicks as much as I used to. It's the only sport where I don't root for a New York team. I've always hated the Knicks. I don't even have that hate for the Knicks anymore. They're 0-10 against the 3 good teams this year because we all know there's 3 good teams this year, and they got destroyed by all of them. So that's number 1. Throughout that series they just had, they've had guys with injuries, but then they come back, they're okay, but they're not 100%. I mean, neither are the Celtics, but the Knicks aren't, and the Knicks need to be more because the Celtics can afford injuries. Tatum could be hurt and they win games, just like for the Thunder, SGA could have bad games and they win by 50. Good teams can afford that. The Knicks, if they lose a guy, no one knows who's coming off the bench because they played plenty of games this year where they gave the bench 5 minutes. So the Celtics are a better team with better players. The Knicks need Cat to be perfect. They need Brunson to be healthy. And in that scenario, they also need the Celtics to have an off shooting night. Because if they don't get all 3 of those, maybe they win a game, they're not winning 4. So I don't see it happening.
All right, Robert, the news media. I've had an opportunity to watch a lot of national media talk about the New York Knicks, and I'm like, I just saw the Celtics play all year. I know you've got to fill up content time, but do the Knicks have any chance of winning this, Robert? Or, what do we do?
No, Mike already talked about it. I mean, I feel like the Knicks will probably steal a game because there will be one game in New York where the Celtics will be disinterested and shoot the ball poorly because they shoot so many threes. You know, if they have a poor shooting night, they are definitely susceptible. But Mike's right. The Knicks have to be perfect. They have to be healthy. The likelihood, and that's just 2 ends, and the Celtics have to not play well. And the likelihood of all 3 of those things happening on the same night
4 times.
It's the chances are infinitesimal. They're so small that, I mean, the likelihood of that is basically 0.
Yeah, well, let's take the audience into Coach Adams. There's a random stat that Coach Adams likes to look at, and it's called degree of difficulty in scoring. And one of the things I didn't do a lot of is call timeout. I didn't call timeout a lot. I was very strategic with that. And if you watch Boston play, it doesn't look challenging for scoring. They tend to score, and it doesn't look hard. If you watch the Knicks play, my God, you've got to go through your bag, 17 dribbles, pump fake, shake, shimmy, and then the ball rolls in, and that's an exhausting possession where Boston come down, make a pass, shot 3, back pedal, do your dance, whatever. So, I'm going to be polite, Mike, and give them a gentleman's sweep of 5. But, Mike, do you think this goes past 5, or you just sweeping and getting the brooms out?
I think it's 4 or 5. I would say. I would say you can't trust the national media that was saying that Jalen Brunson's the greatest Knick who ever lived.
Oh my
And
God, I don't know where
this
that
is
came from.
this is his first second round. Like, what are we doing? Patrick Ewing is an all, and I'm someone who AOL Instant Messenger. My name was Ewing sucks, but Patrick Ewing is the greatest Knick of the last 40 years, and before that, you've got guys who won championships. Like, what are we doing? They won one round against the team that was the worst team in the history of the sport last year. Like, calm down, pump the brakes, let him win a little more.
All right, Robert, a gentleman sweep, or what do you got?
Yeah. I see 5 games. I think, there will be one where the Celtics just kind of, go 8 for 50 from 3. I can see
And
that.
it would be 50. That's not a joke, probably.
Yeah.
All right, Cavs Pacers. First of all, Milwaukee Bucks forward Giannis Antetokounmpo got into a heated confrontation with the father of the most popular guy, Indiana Pacers guard Tyrese Haliburton, following the series-clinching win. Robert, any thoughts about Haliburton's dad being on the floor? Anything? Because you won't see him anymore of this playoffs.
The only thought I immediately had is that the likelihood of him doing that to someone like Draymond versus Giannis, I think the likelihood of that changes. I think he was very selective in that because he was relatively sure that Giannis would not do anything.
Are we okay with him not showing up for in-person games the rest of the playoffs?
Absolutely. Go
Okay.
watch at home.
All right, Mike, what did you think about that?
I mean, in college, we got kids running on the court. They're yelling at the other players. Like, I found it like a whole, like, kind of nothing. If it was just some random guy, it wouldn't be a story. So to me, it wasn't that big a deal. I will say that Halliburton being the most overrated player in the NBA stuff was a bad look for the players. Especially when we've got, and I'm a hater, especially when we've got a guy like Draymond Green who is considered an all-time great because he has Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson was on his team, and he's had Steph Curry, and he's ridden their coattails because if he went to any other team, no one would even know he was a basketball player, and he got in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation just because of a podcast. So Halliburton is not the most overrated player in basketball when we've got that guy there.
All right, so let's get to the actual games. Cleveland Pacers. Robert, can Indiana actually beat Cleveland in a 7-game series?
Again, I similar to the Cavs Knicks, the Celtics Knicks series. I think I actually could see this series going 6, but I think the Cavs they're rested and they're just. That's my feeling. And I think Haliburton, I mean, can he score? Sure, but I think he'll also shoot them out of games.
All right, so Mike, can Cleveland choke this one out, or they're too darn good and we're just rushing to Cleveland, Boston? What do you think?
I think sweep or gentleman sweep. I think it's similar to Boston Knicks. Cleveland. Because Cleveland hasn't won before, similar to the Thunder, everyone wants to act like Boston. Cleveland is so good. They've got 4 stars, and they added a guy for the trading deadline who's great, not good. Cleveland has more talent than the Pacers could dream of. Cleveland, if we get to the Cleveland-Boston thing, which I think we will, I think Cleveland's the favorite. They've got the home game, and again, they've got more stars. Cleveland is so much better than the national media wants to give them credit for, because again, they haven't won before, which is how we judge things in the NBA stupidly. I don't see how the Pacers can keep up. I don't.
All right, and joining us fresh off vacation, you can see he looks like he's on vacation. Coach Alfred Johnson. Coach, Cleveland or Indiana? What are you thinking, sir? As we close segment one.
I agree with both of these gentlemen. I got Cleveland in the sweep. Cleveland is very good. And like you said, they got 4 stars and not counting DeAndre Hunter is fantastic. And what he gives them off the bench, and I'm sure he's happy to be there as opposed to where he was previously. I mean, he's playing with a new lease on life. But Cleveland got true 4 stars. They play well. The guys that surround them play. I mean, they're super. They know their role. Everyone's accepted. And I agree with you about Haliburton in terms of he can shoot you out of a game. He can quickly shoot you out of a game. I like Cleveland.
All right. So we want to take the offseason now. We've got the Bucks in the offseason, the Heat in the offseason, the Pistons in the offseason, and the Magic. Mike, out of any of those teams, which team would you like to give some advice to in terms of how they should deal with the offseason?
I'll pick. I want to pick 2. The Bucks. If you're not going to win, which I don't think you're going to win, and you don't have any first-round picks for the next 4 years, so you're not built for now and you're not built for later. So they got to trade everybody. And if you trade Giannis, you can get all the first. Like, I mean, selfishly as a Thunder fan, that's the perfect trading partner. They can give you 4+ firsts and a bunch of good role players. I'm not getting rid of J-Dub or Chet, not even for Giannis. But you can still stockpile and have a future. That's what I'm doing with the Bucks. With the Magic, what I'd say, if they were healthy, I think they are legitimately the 3rd best team in the East. They've got a lot of interesting pieces. They play defense. For them, I just say stay the course. If they could find a couple of free agents, not big name. I don't think they need to go make any splashes, but find guys that fit roles. The Magic, I think, are gonna ascend. That's the team I'm buying stock in next year.
All right, Robert, take any of those teams. Feel free. Anybody you want to give advice to in the offseason?
Well, I'm going to take the low hanging fruit. I'll take the Heat culture. That's not a thing anymore. Blow it up, start over. Because right now you just don't have that. You snuck into the playoffs for the 2nd year in a row because you won play-in games, but it's time.
It's time. All right, Coach Johnson. Any team in the East for the offseason that made the playoffs but didn't make it far? Who are you advising?
I really like the young Detroit Pistons. I like their team.
You didn't even get a shot off. I am so mad.
I know. We did not. But I like their team. I think that they still need to add a couple more pieces, a couple veterans. I was happy for Tobias Harris, especially what he went through in Philadelphia, because he did a great job. But because of his salary, people hung that over him, blamed him for everything. And as we see, it was not his fault. I like the young Pistons. They just, again, as they get seasoned, they're going to be fine as long as they're able to stay together, but add a couple pieces. The Magic has a chance to be pretty good as well. They need a couple things. I think they need a better and a true point guard. But I like their young group. Those are the 2 teams I really like. I agree about the Bucks. They need to blow it up. The Heat, they need to blow that up. So those are my 2 picks.
All right. So, fans, when we get back in segment 2, we're going to talk about the Western Conference, and we're going to allow Mike King to remind the country that he told you this in November, December. Anyway,
2023.
We'll be right back on the Icons Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Safe Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CK Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast in segment 2. Conference semifinals. The Oklahoma City Thunder will take on the Denver Nuggets. I will cede the floor to Mike King to give us the reason why the Nuggets have no shot at this thing. Go right ahead, Mike.
So I'm not going to say they have no shot. They've got potentially the best player in the world. I'm partial to SGA, but if you want to just go by the most dominant, it's Jokic. Although again, not going to give you the defense that SGA gives you, but the best offensive player in the world, they've got him. The Thunder they concede the most corner threes, which is the best shot. So that's a risk. They do that because they're very, very aggressive. But at any given moment, if we want to go two bigs, we've got 3 elite wing defenders on the floor at all times. And if we go one big, we have 4 elite wing defenders at all times. There is never a moment where there's someone on the floor that you could attack. And last year, Giddey was that guy, and they attacked him. And that he was unplayable. And Bulls fans were very happy this year. Oh, we won the trade. Everyone won the trade because Giddey's a great regular season guy for you. If you made the playoffs, which you didn't because you have guys like Giddey, if you made the playoffs, that's who they were attacking and you were going to lose. We don't have that. So Cason Wallace, elite. Alex Caruso, elite. Dort, elite. J-Dub, who to me is becoming Chet's my guy. Love Chet. Loved him in college. But to be as good as J-Dub is defensively, again, as a wing defender, and that good offensively, you don't see that. He's very different. You can't place him with like a comp in this era. I don't think there is one for him. I think his sky might be even higher than Chet's because Chet's always going to be a step below Wemby, but J-Dub is his own unique kind of thing. It's a fun team. I really, really hope they go far because I don't want to see them do anything stupid. And if they lose this series, I think they might go stupid. And then you go into the what can we give for Giannis, and they have you by the whatever, and you have to maybe give up one of your foundational guys. And I don't want to do that. I want to see this core as far as they'll go because I think this core could be what we talk about for 2020s basketball, 2030s basketball. I think they've got that kind of thing in them. But the Nuggets have the best offensive player. So there's always a threat there. And the Thunder seem to play these teams that'll shoot 50% from 3 in these games. Like we had that with the Lakers in the regular season towards the end. And everyone was like, oh, the Lakers are better. No, they shot 50% from 3 and it's not sustainable. But in a 7-game series, who knows? So that's my concern. Whoever we play, corner threes, that's my worry. But on paper, the only teams that really scare me in the East, and for me, honestly, the Cavs scare me more than Boston.
All right, Robert. I like Jokic, but Jamal Murray will let you down in a minute. And that Russell Westbrook guy, do they have a shot? Or let's just get them out of here.
I could see that series going 6 because, as Mike said, Jokic is the best offensive player in the world. And if there are guys open for corner threes, Jokic will find them. And if they make them, then Oklahoma City will be in some difficulty. Denver cannot guard Oklahoma City. They cannot. And when you put Russ on the floor, and I've always loved his passion, but you just never know what you're going to get, because we're taping on Sunday. Last night was Game 7. He played really well last night. Game 6, he was brutal. And for whatever reason, that guy, whoever the new head coach is, did not get him off the floor. I don't know what that was. But, I think that, the Thunder are going to move on to the conference finals fairly easily. I think I think the teams that are remaining in the West are all flawed. And I think, Oklahoma City has a path. Whether they take it or not is another thing, but they definitely have a path.
All right, Coach Johnson, what's your analysis on OKC Denver?
I got OKC, and I agree. I think it's probably going to go 6. It's interesting because OKC is the best team in the West.
They're historically good, Coach. They're historically good.
They are outstanding to watch. They play together. They enjoy playing together. Denver is interesting to me because at times they look good, but I agree with you. I'm not at times a big Westbrook fan. I mean, he missed more layups. He missing dunks. He had one series last night where he had like 4 turnovers in a row. And I agree. I don't know why he still be on the floor. And then he had one shot last night. Then he wants to be hollering and cursing at the crowd and everything. That's a bunch of crap to me. And the problem I have is that too often college players are trying to emulate a lot of these pros. And
have you been to an AAU tournament recently?
It's a bunch of crap. Just play the game, be professional. Correct. I don't like all that. I don't like all that. That's me. But OKC's one hell of a team, and I think they're going. I think they will represent the West.
There's a reason I don't referee a whole lot of those tournaments. Let me tell you.
You see the highlights on Twitter of they're starting to emulate the flopping. They're looking like LeBron.
Oh my goodness. I don't even want to talk about LeBron. I have such disdain for the Lakers for that. The LeBron is 6'9", 260. He bumped into Randolph the other night and he laid on the floor for damn near 5 minutes, like holding his head. Are you joking me?
He's got a sprained ankle. He would have missed the next series, they said.
Oh my goodness.
MCL.
Sure.
All right. So the Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Lakers. We tape on Sunday, and the Houston Rockets are taking on Golden State. So we're not going to get into the prediction business. We're going to ask Robert, looking at the potential teams that are going to be out, including the teams that are already out, who would you give advice to in terms of getting ready for their offseason?
Well, I mean, the Lakers have a lot to think about because you have Luka, you have LeBron. LeBron is, if he wants, I mean, because he still has that series of 1-year contracts where he can opt out every year, and I mean, he's not going to go anywhere. I mean. Well, maybe he'll go to Phoenix because that way he'll be closer to Tucson and he can go watch his son play in Tucson. But LeBron's going to stay in LA. And, I mean, you want to talk about a flawed team. I mean, you have and I mean, LeBron is, I understand Coach Johnson's disdain for him. He's a great player. He's 40 years old. There's a lot of miles on those tires. And you have Luka, who is an absolutely elite player, doesn't guard anybody. You have Austin Reeves, and then what? He played the JJ played an entire second half without subbing in the NBA. That is absolutely unheard of. And they don't have any draft picks. And, yes, people want to play in LA. So there's always the possibility that, you'll get a free agent or two, but they got a lot to think about because that roster, there's a lot. There's a lot.
All right, Coach Johnson, you pick your squad, sir. Who you're advising? Because again, Golden State and Houston plays tonight. I have Minnesota not doing well, so they're just getting ready to lose to Oklahoma City. So it really doesn't matter. So who are you advising this offseason?
The Lakers. I agree with Robert. First of all, for me, my problem with them starts with the head coach. When he was in the media, he complained about everything. He criticized everybody and so forth. He gets to the Lakers. He think he knows more than everybody. Like you said, he even though they won 50 games, he made a lot of the playoffs exposed him and this about being a rookie. I don't buy that in his case. He just made bad decisions, bad choices. Not subbing in NBA is unbelievable.
All right, hold on, Coach. I'm going to push back slightly because I can with you. Okay. We have both been in that situation where we have looked down that bench and looked at our assistants and said, I don't want to put none of them in. So what's the difference between that and JJ? Because we've both been there where we've looked.
But even though, even though we've been there, we made substitutions. These young kids.
You might have made substitutions.
I did, because these young kids can't play. They can't play the whole. Majority of these kids can't play a whole game anymore.
Fowler
can't play a whole half anymore. Majority of these young kids aren't in shape. He could have got 2 minutes or 3 minutes here from there. But another thing that really hurt them was when the trade for Mark Williams was rescinded. That really hurt them. Now, in terms of LeBron and Luka, I got a tremendous problem watching these two flop. I got a tremendous problem with Luka dribbling for 20 seconds, which he did in Dallas. Shoot up, jack up something, lay on the floor, wailing, complaining about a foul, and they running down the floor 5-on-3, 5-on-4. Because both he and LeBron do that. And it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable to watch. It really is. It's hard to watch. And like I said, LeBron gets hit. He lays there. He flails. Come on, man.
He got caught game 3 or 4, like on the floor, pretending holding his head. And then the camera zoomed in on him, and he's like,
right.
I think he got caught lying.
It's unwatchable. I'm gonna go back to one more thing about him. There was a game they had in warmups. He was out shooting with no shirt on. And Isaiah Thomas criticized him and talked about being professional. He has repeatedly shown a lack of professionalism throughout the season. I can't say I have not studied him before this until that point was made. But his lack of professionalism, I think, hurts the game, hurts his image, and it really hurts the mindset of the young guys on that team.
Okay. Mike, who you got? Who are you providing advice for this offseason?
Well, one thing I'll say first, the Rockets are another team everyone's sleeping on because they're young. I don't want to play the Rockets. I'm rooting for Golden State. Rockets can defend. They're basically OKC, but they don't have SGA, but they're basically OKC. That's a good team. I'm gonna go with Memphis, and the reason I watched them close in that 4-game series, and I heard the press conference after where half the team wanted to say how they had OKC figured out. Losers. They got to blow it up because they got a locker room of losers. Like Ja afterwards, I figured it out. They've lost 10 straight games to OKC, and none of them have and the average game has been like 18 points. So shut up. Shut up. You were going to win game 3, but you were going to lose game 4 and 5 if you were there because OKC was also in, we just beat this team by 50 mode, and they don't have their star. And that does stuff to professional athletes. You see it in all sports. You see it in tennis. I remember Nadal hurt his leg, and he basically couldn't play, and he won a set because there's something about your opponent's weak, and you drop to the level a little bit for a minute until you figure it out. That happened in that series once Ja went out, where the Thunder weren't going to give the same effort they gave in Game 4. It's just human nature. But they got to blow it up, because I'm a big believer of, if I look around and I see teams that are younger than me and better than me, then what's the point? What am I going to do? Am I going to go the next 10 years with this big three that isn't as good as the Thunder's big three, that isn't as good as the T-Wolves' young core, that isn't as good, and I don't have the role players to match, and I'm just going to run this and hope to be the 7 seed, and I just fired a good coach, so who's going to want to coach for me? Again,
go with Ja.
And Ja is, I like Ja out of college. I thought whoever got the 2 pick that year was going to get the better player. I thought the same thing with Durant. Usually when there's that second player, and then you look at it and you go, you know what? The other guy's kind of injury prone. Usually you want that 2 pick, and Ja's the better pick than Zion. But the last couple of years, you see he's kind of a loser. He's got the wrong mentality. Everything's me. Nothing's the team. He's laughing on the sidelines and blowouts. You don't win with that. So do you want to build around that? I don't. What can I get for him? What can I get for Bane? What can I get for all these guys Triple J, who aren't good enough to win? Because you're not winning in the West for the next 10 years with that core. You're not. So what's the point? I'm selling high, and I'm going to be bad, and I'm going to try and do what the Spurs just did, because they just retooled pretty quickly. I'm going to do what the Thunder did 3 years ago. Again, remember, the Grizzlies were supposed to be the Thunder 3 years ago. The Thunder have lapped you 8 times on a 1-lap race. Like, you are so far out of it, blow the whole thing up and do it quick.
Coach, what do you think, John? Coach Johnson?
I agree. I like Ja, but again, for me, as a point guard, I have a problem with his me first mentality. Again, laughing during a blowout says a lot. And again, his off the court behavior, even on the court behavior, which keeps him in trouble, you can't have that representing your franchise.
I like Scottie Pippen Jr. too. He's good.
Say that again.
Scottie Pippen Jr. is a good piece.
He played very well, and actually, I think he showed you have a replacement already in house, because I would trade him. I would see what I can get from him, and just hope for his sake he don't blow himself out the league with some crazy behavior between him and his father.
Why did Ja get hurt? Because he's trying to posterize someone when he doesn't need to. It's
Correct.
all about, I'm going to make this look great, and I'm dunking from here, and then an accidental thing happens when all he has to do is just do the smart play.
Yeah.
All right. So, fans, I love this. In segment 3, we're going to give you a little capsule preview of the WNBA, and we're going to close with the celebration of Pop. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student-athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real-life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student-athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student-athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.casafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast. In segment 3, we want to give a capsule preview of every WNBA team. And let's just remember a couple of things. One, there's a small amount of teams in WNBA, so you're going to get first-round draft picks cut. Weight you already have. And 2, injuries happen fairly regularly in the WNBA, so that's going to be a problem. So the Atlanta Dream. The big question with the Atlanta Dream is, can they play under new coach Carl Semesco? So Coach Semesco coached at Florida Gulf Coast. He's got a certain system that's really enticing in college, and I don't know if it can play very well in the pros. And he also got Brittany Griner. So Coach Johnson, he likes to play a lot of huck and chuck, a lot of 3 ball. Can that system, in your opinion, work in the WNBA?
No. Well, it depends on the team, but not when you got a 6'9" center who is talented and can do some things. And if she's running up and down the floor 5 and 6 times without a touch, that's a problem. That's a problem.
All right. Chicago Sky. The biggest question with the Chicago Sky, you had Angel Reese with a great rookie season. Camila Cardozo's back, so you got 2 bigs anchoring them. You got Courtney Vandersloot, and you also got Haley Van Lith. Mike, with Angel Reese, hopefully being a better finisher around the basket. Hope I said that as constructive as possible. Do you think Chicago has a shot to go far in the postseason?
I think they're going to be building, and I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I mean, all the talk's Angel Reese, but Cardoso is the higher draft pick, and she's good. She takes up a lot of space. A lot of reason Angel Reese gets those rebounds because Cardoso's there, and they're both going to get better. We'll see. We'll see about Vandersloot because shooting's been down. Last year was pretty bad, 26% from 3 in a league where it seems like everyone shoots well. So that's not great. But again, this is going to be one of the teams to really pay attention to because seeing if Reese and Cardoso take another step, they're gonna be a lot better. And they add HVL, who's a name, right? So like you were already one of the teams people focused on, and now you added one of the college names that people know. So it's going to be a fun team to pay attention to.
And I will be able to see them in person this month when I go to the Black Student Athlete Summit in Chicago. I'll watch them play the Liberty. All right, Robert, the Connecticut Suns. They were good. They had a beef with their coach. Their coach went to the Fever. They brought in a renowned international coach. But again, management made a turnover, made a change. Do you think Connecticut can gel quickly with that change in leadership?
I feel like, and this is purely observational, there is no data or anything to support this other than just what it seems like. Teams with it seems like women's teams tend to take a little bit longer to gel as a group. And I think when you have a bunch of new players like they do, I think it takes a little longer for them to kind of all get on the same page, especially when you have a new coach. Now, a lot of these WNBA players are used to playing for European coaches because they play in Europe in the off season. So that's not really a big thing, but you also have 4 first-round draft picks who are brand new. And so I see them taking a fairly significant step back. I don't, I mean, could they still make the playoffs? I mean, sure, you can finish 8th and make the playoffs, but I mean, I don't see them maintaining their current level. I think it's going to take them some time to figure it out.
All right, I'm going to stay with you, Robert. The Dallas Wings has Paige Buckets and Enrique Agumabale in the backcourt. Is that even going to mesh, though? Is that even a good fit? Because they were 9-31 last year, and yeah, you got the number one pick for a reason. Do you think they can mesh?
Again, I think it's going to take them some time to figure it out. The Wings had to take Paige Buckets. They had no choice. They had to take her because she was the best player in the draft, no question. That's who you pick. They've already played a preseason game, and I can't remember who they played, but they got thumped. And so I think it's going to take them some time. I think they're, to a lesser degree, there will probably be some of the stuff with Paige Buckers that Caitlin Clark got. Probably not the same, but there will still be some of this. Hey, Rook, this is how we do stuff here, and she'll get knocked on her butt a few times. I think that the sooner they figure out how to get on the same page, the better they're going to be. That's what it's going to come down to.
But they should be better than 9 wins.
They're definitely going to be better than 9 wins. But like they've those two players have got to figure out how they're going to play together.
All right, Coach Johnson, you are a program builder, so I'm going to give you the Golden State Valkyries. They've got to establish an identity, so give them some advice on being a first-year program playing in the WNBA, and they got to have name tags to practice.
Robert made an excellent point that it takes most of the female teams a little bit of time to develop chemistry. So the first thing I would say for them is to get a group where chemistry outweighs everything else right now. There's talent. They can find talent. But they got to get a group that wants to play together, likes playing together, will pay attention to the coach, establish a culture of listening, playing hard. The other day, someone sent me something that said, no one fears your words. They fear you playing hard. So with that said, if a new group can come in and establish a culture of playing hard, playing together, I think they'll be fine.
All right. Mike, I'm going to give you the one everybody's talking about. The Indiana Fever got a new coach. Caitlin looks like she's been in the weight room this offseason, and she got some rest. Are the Fever championship contenders? What do you think, sir?
No, but they're going to be better. They're just not. It's not realistic for. Again, they were 6th last year. They had a 2020 record. They lost in the first round. They added some good pieces. They added some people who are going to definitely help, and they should get better. They've got back-to-back Rookie of the Years, and they're going to be better. But it would be disrespectful of the much better teams that we know exist, like Vegas, New York, Connecticut, etc., to just say that they're going to just join that club. I think could they get to a semifinal if things break right? I think that's their peak. And then next year is where if they make that jump this year, I think next year is where that becomes a possibility. But they did get better as the year went on. Once Caitlin Clark started to figure things out, and it took some time. And they were fun to watch the back half of the year. I'm thinking high 20s for wins. They're going to be a much better team, and they're going to be in that running to get to the semis. And I don't see them being a serious contender yet. But adding some experience, and not just experience, but players who averaged 17 last year. So not we're not adding bums who have a ring and it's oh, great, you could teach us how to win when you had players do it for you. They added actual players. That's good. But again, there's better teams, but they made the right moves.
All right, Robert, I'm coming to you for Las Vegas because Las Vegas 3 years ago was a super team and whatever. Last year, they took a step down and everybody else took a step up. Now they've made changes to their roster and the league is kind of caught up. So, what do you think about Vegas in terms of you got Becky Hammond still coaching, you got all of this noise, but you didn't win last year and New York can't beat you. What are you thinking?
Well, you still have Asia Wilson, and she's the best player in the league. So you still have that going for you. I think that, probably trading Jewel Lloyd and Kelsey Plum. I know Ock loves him some Kelsey Plum. I think that's pretty much a wash. I think those two players, that their skills are fairly similar, and I think that'll just wash out. They did lose some of their veterans to other teams, and so they've got some new pieces, and I think that's really going to be the key for them. The new pieces they have, how well does Jewel Lloyd come in, and how quickly can they build chemistry? I think they're still a top 4 team. I don't think there's any question about that because Asia Wilson's that good, but that I could see them struggling a little bit early on.
All right, Coach Johnson, we're going to give you the Sparks. They were 8-32 last year. Their number 2 draft pick, Cameron Brink, didn't even play because of an ACL. Hopefully she's able to make it back. She had the injury in June. And they got George Ockert's favorite player, Kelsey Plum. Can the Sparks make any noise? Because they have not been good the last few years.
If Brink plays and with what they're doing, I can see an additional 10 wins. They're still learning, but they should be able to go from 8 to 18 wins. I do see them getting better. Yes. Quickly, one of the teams that we mentioned earlier, I just want to fall back on Chicago. I think Chicago's improvement is going to be due to their coaching staff. Tyler Marsh has been around Vegas. He's won, but he brought his father with him, Donnie Marsh, who is a longtime defensive guru on a Division I level as a coach. Fantastic guy, but a hell of a defensive coach. I think he has a staff that's going to really pour into this team, and that I think will make them a surprise.
All right. Mike, I'm going to give you the finalist, Minnesota Lynx. They lost in the finals. They're good, but can they return to the finals with all of the other things going on with the other teams? Do they have enough to get back and even win it? What do you think?
I think they do. Their best player is 28, coming off her best year by far. So when your best player is right there in the start of the prime, and you bring back the starting 5, and we've talked about all this change that's been going on. So stability and consistency in a short season, which the WNBA has, they have more of a chance to get out on a run early and build up a record and get themselves, potential the seed that they want. So yeah, I think Minnesota's got a very, very strong chance to win the whole thing.
All right, Robert, New York Liberty, they're the champs. Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, Jaquel Jones. They also have a lot of new pieces. Can we see the birthing of a dynasty? As Mike said, a lot of other folks made some changes, and so did they. Courtney's gone, and a couple of people got injuries. What do you think? Can New York repeat?
I mean, I think they can. I think that as time passes in the league, until the league starts to get until we start adding some more teams, because of the amount of talent that's available, I think that we're less likely to see dynasties develop. I mean, we call the Aces a super team, but they were really 3 years. 3 years, they were really good, right? And I think New York is still going to be really good, but I think that the talent in the league overall is increasing so much that it's going to be harder and harder for teams to stay in that upper echelon, to remain there. And I mean, New York is going to be there as long as they have Sabrina Ionescu, as long as they have Breanna Stewart. They're always going to be in the conversation. But
Yeah.
It's going to be tougher and tougher for teams each and every year. And can they repeat? Yes. They've got some injuries that they're waiting to get people back from, and how well those players recover, how quickly they're able to get back. That's really going to be the key for them, I think.
All right, Coach Johnson, I'm going with you for Phoenix. You've had to deal with this as a coach, losing great players, you losing influential players. Now Phoenix has to come into a new era. You got new players there. What are you telling Phoenix? Because they were kind of straggling for the last couple of years. Now they've got a fresh start. What do you think?
Well, I think that's what you harp on to the players. This is your opportunity. Yes, we have a fresh start. This is your opportunity to prove to the world you can play. So let's buy in. Let's get in the gym. Let's get in the weight room. Let's win. Again, because it's a fresh start, fresh starts a lot of times bring in hungrier players. And if you get hungrier players looking for an opportunity, you can easily take advantage of that and win.
Yeah, and I want to stay with you for Seattle because they're bringing in a hungry player, Dominique Maloga. She is the second pick.
Yes.
My man Francois loves her,
Mhm.
loves her game. And you're bringing in this stud who has already played with pros, but she's 19, Coach, and
Yes.
the WNBA is an old league.
Mhm.
So how would you ease her into this when you got people like Skylar Diggins, Gabby Williams, who's back, Nneka Ogwumike? How do you get that kid to play? Because you might need her help. What are you thinking?
Well, I think you let her talent flourish. You let her play. You let her play. We're talking about easing her in. Let the veterans appreciate what they have in this young kid, and let's bring her along quickly. Let's take advantage of what she can do. She's surrounded by veterans, so it's not all on her. But the fact that she's going to have some mismatches, the fact that she can play, her youth is an asset.
Now, but remember, Coach, sometimes they don't play nice in the sandbox in the WNBA, as
I
in
know
any
that.
other team.
I know that.
And it's about TNT, time and touches, and she's about to take somebody's time, and she's about to take somebody's touches. So, how are you going to deal with, she's really, really good, and we have to let her, be really, really good and try not to
well,
be
well,
the Wizards and Kwame Brown.
to go back to that, your coaching staff needs to meet with your veterans. Let's talk, let them know, hey, listen, we have a special player here. It's up to you guys to make her feel welcome. Let's take advantage of what she can do. But let's understand she is indeed our future. She's going to be our cornerstone. So let's incorporate her now rather than later.
All right.
And she's not a Wemby, but I can see, she's very skilled. She's
Yes, she
very
is.
long. She's going to block shots in the paint. She's going to do some things offensively that we haven't seen a whole lot of. And she's going to try to guard Asia Wilson, and Asia Wilson is just going to beat her to a pulp. Both of those things can be true, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, all true. All right, Mike, you're going to close us out with our local team, the Washington Mystics. They had 3 number 1 picks, but one of them already out for the season with an ACL injury. I hate that. Um, can they even make the playoffs, or this might be another tread and water year? New staff, new GM, new coaches. What are you thinking about the Mystics?
Let's call them the Wizards at this point because it's the same nonsense. Like, why can't you just be bad enough to get the number 1 pick? Like, this is why the Wizards. And when the Wizards are finally bad enough to get the number 1 pick, it's like the worst year ever. Like, Washington basketball is just doomed to just always be bad. We'll see. I mean, their number 3 pick, she had a good preseason game, 5 of 6, decent stat line. But even if she turns out to be good, she's not the box office draw that they need. Who went 1? Like, be bad. Just embrace bad. Get the person. Next year's got the number 1. Be bad this year, and then let's actually talk about, wow, the Mystics could be good for 15 years.
Who got hurt?
The big girl. Gosh, gee Willikers, give it to me.
The number 7 pick, was it?
Yes, I am trying to find. Cannot find her name. It begins with an A, or her last name was an A.
Amore.
Yes.
They got Kiki and Sonia Citron. She's a point guard. Yeah, from Kentucky. Yeah, but like, again, you're not going to be good. You're just not. It takes rookies a while. None of these rookies who are supposed to be can't miss. They're not going to be good. So why not be bad? Like this,
that's really bad.
But that's my take as a fan. I understand it's different in the building, but as a fan, like, there's nothing worse. I always say there's nothing worse you could be than like average. But then Washington basketball takes it to a new level. There's nothing worse than you could be than like really bad, but not really, really bad. Because they're really bad every time and they can't draft. So they're always really bad. Just be really, really bad. Get the superstar. It's time.
All right. So fans, as we close, a coaching legend has stepped down from coaching, but will still definitely be involved in basketball. Greg Popovich, who's one of my favorite coaches. He's a coach's coach. He is an historian. He's an eclectic guy. He has just awesome relationships with his players. That's something that I tried to do a halfway decent job on. Coach Johnson, again, a lot of our conversations have to do with all types of other things. And that's one of the things I liked about Pop, is that he could talk about all kinds of other things. Any thoughts as Greg Popovich steps down for one role and steps into another?
Well, him stepping down, as we know, due to health reasons, but the fact that he's still going to be around is going to be good for the organization, because he's still going to be involved with the young players. He's going to get a chance to interject life lessons to them, interject wisdom of the game. So again, we're grateful for all that he's done. We're grateful for the chance to watch him stand up for so many things outside of the game. But again, he's a good one. He was a good one. And I know he has 5 championship rings compared to, Phil Jackson's 10 and so forth, but he was indeed a special coach. A special coach.
Robert, you are our Texas correspondent. I don't know how much in your area they talk San Antonio sports, but what has been the feedback in the Lone Star State about Pop leaving?
I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but I will say that, I mean, Pop, he changed. He not only changed basketball in San Antonio, he changed basketball because of his approach to the game. I think he probably did as much as anyone, if not more, to bring international players to the game, because the Spurs have always had international players. And I think that, it probably was time. It's probably been, if we're honest, it's probably been time for a few years. But when you do what Pop did, you kind of earn the right to leave on your own terms. And I'm glad he's able to do that rather than somebody kind of moving him along.
All right. Mike King, you're around for a lot of these conversations with the Spurs. Any thoughts on Pop leave?
Well, first, when he started Hack-a-Shack 5 seconds into the game, and then he was laughing, he gave the thumbs up. That's one of the great NBA moments of the last 20 years. That was fantastic. I think boring back. Like, it used to be you had to be so entertaining and so much going on, and the Spurs were just boring. And since the Spurs have won, what wins? Boring wins. You love to say boring wins. What wins? The Celtics are boring. I mean, they shoot threes, but it's boring. Kawhi is maybe the most boring guy there is, and he won in Toronto. I don't think that could happen if Pop doesn't create a culture of boring basketball is sustainable. And Phil Jackson, again, he had Michael Jordan.
Don't you start. I will jump when you know how I feel about Phil.
I love Phil Jackson. He had Michael Jordan, who was the greatest of the greatest, and I will fight anybody about, don't talk to me about LeBron. Michael Jordan clears him in every competitive way. He wasn't going to lose. He wasn't when he hit his prime. Then he went to the Lakers with the most dominant force that the game has seen since there was one guy who was literally a foot and 100 pounds bigger than everyone else. Shaq was the most and you could put him in any era, and 20 years from now, and he would be the most unstoppable force. And he had Kobe. And Phil screwed it up by not. You make those guys get along. That run should have went on forever. So that's on Phil to me. Pop won with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan just being just the least interesting guy.
The big fundamental.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took the three of them as like old guys, and Kawhi was just this young, and he made that work for a year. I don't blame him for Kawhi leaving. Kawhi's weird. Kawhi's as weird as it gets. I don't blame Pop for that. For Kawhi not wanting to stay. He wanted to go to California eventually. It was going to happen. Pop's the best. To me, he's number one.
So right. David Aldridge, when he was, is he even still around?
Yeah, he does work with the Atlantic.
I mean, long time ago, he was talking about Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson was in between jobs, and it was where he was going. And they talked about a job for him, and it was a job that was going to require some work in terms of some building. And what he said kind of encapsulates for me the difference between Pop and Phil Jackson. David Aldridge said, there are piano movers and there are piano players. Phil Jackson is a piano player. Pop's a piano mover. He built those teams. Mm-hmm. Jackson never did that.
All fair criticism, however, gentlemen, Phil Jackson, to paraphrase Phil Jackson, nobody said I had to coach a bum. Where's the rule that says I'm going to go through heaven and hell to do this? I don't want to. And as I jokingly say, and Mike King has heard me say this 1,000 times, I don't know what I will do, but I can tell you exactly what I won't do. Okay? And I don't want to deal with that. And Michael didn't win with Doug Collins. So Michael had to buy into the triangle, which is the most unselfish offense in the history of life. And he got professional athletes to say, okay, I'm good with waiting for the cut. So then he goes to L.A. and he installs the triangle with the old man, Tex Winter. I ain't going to forget Tex. And even Kobe would say, man, do you know how hard it is to be that unselfish in terms of read and react? And if you try to teach the triangle to these kids today, Coach Johnson is on the sidelines. They don't know what to do after the first pass. And I'm not being old man, get off my lawn. I'm just saying pound, 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 pound. Shot clock going tick-tock, tick-tock. One pass, huck and chuck, and hit the vein. I'm like, what are you doing? What are we doing? So I love Pop. But, man, Phil, yeah, that's my guy, dog. That's my guy. All right. So with that being said, on behalf of my Cavalcade stars, I haven't done a Phil rant in a long time. I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and to watching. Stop it, Robert. The Coaches Podcast, and we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches Podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete, academic, and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA SAVE project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.